Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel L. Connon. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Pre-Market Info.
Well, Joel, market's selling off a little bit here this morning, 1648. We have bounced back from the overnight lows, got as low as 1643.75, but we had that little sell-off late yesterday. The market was holding up not bad in the last few minutes. We had a 4 or 5 point sell-off, and ExxonMobil, funny enough, gave it back too, which we will get to in a second.
Yeah, what you do? Get a little bearish near the close there yesterday?
Somebody did.
S&P,
Somebody
yeah,
did. Everything was holding up well, and then the last 10 minutes, everything kind of just cratered, and boom, we fell off, and it's followed through a little bit here overnight.
yeah. Closed 1650.50. Popped a buck over that overnight to 1651.50. So $3 away from there. That's a good resistance area. We can't clear that early this morning. We're coming into a very critical support area here in the S&Ps, Dennis. I want to alert all our traders here to this 1642 level. We hit 41 yesterday. We hit 42 and a quarter the day before. We hit 43.75 yesterday. Kind of leaning heavy on that. I think we take that out and finally get that correction that everyone's waiting for.
Yeah, when you look at it on that chart, it looks like we had the big down move there, 3-4 days. Now we've had 2 or 3 days of consolidation here just above the 1640. Sometimes you see a move and then a pause and then a continuation of the previous move. If that does happen, if we do go through that 1640, I agree with you. I think we could see this thing down at 1620 in a hurry. So critical that we do hold the 1640 level. So I agree with you there, Joel. And look at the ExxonMobil. Bring the chart closer so we can see it again. Unbelievable. Especially, can you go to yesterday's chart just to show you what happened there yesterday? Because the stock was trading up the entire trading session. It was green. Basically, from the get-go, it was green. And then with 2 or 3 minutes, like it just started drifting down in the afternoon, was green with 5 minutes to go, and then boom, closes red for the 20th time in the last 21 days. It's the streak just doesn't end, Joel. It doesn't end. And here we are with ExxonMobil. It is trading flat here this morning, so we'll have to see if we can make it 21 for 22.
Right. Actually, we were discussing that stock after the close, and I looked at it, and it made a perfect double top. 87.87. It hit that level exactly the last 2 days. Pulled back here. You are finding, you are trading on support, I guess you can call it that. 86.78 was yesterday's low. 86.83 was low from the day before. So boy,
Wow,
it better get away from that level in a heartbeat, and we could be find ourselves trading in the lower 86s here.
identical ranges for that actually. So you had the high almost spot, or the high spot on, like you just said, and the two lows were only a nickel apart too. That's very interesting that ExxonMobil had 2 days of identical range there.
And the S&Ps did. So
Yeah.
get some correlations here. We have MACDs popping in here about crude getting killed here as well.
Well,
And
can't be good for ExxonMobil either.
well, it's been from this chart, it's had like a 102 to 108 trading range. Got up near the upper end of that range a few days ago. Took out a couple double bottoms here in the 106.50 area, and it's really never looked back. Trading near yesterday's low here, which is, I believe, a 104.43. Needs to hold in here. I don't see the next major support level on this until 103.48, and that was a low that you had earlier in the month. So keep an eye on that crude low. That crude has been weak. He just asked if it's fear of the Fed minutes coming out.
Well, yeah, we do have Fed minutes there today too, so obviously that's going to impact everything, I would imagine. It seems like, especially your interest rate sensitive stuff, so keep an eye on that stuff as well. Earnings here, Joel. Let's move on just quickly to some of the earnings plays. Lowe's reported earnings here today. This is interesting because they blew the numbers away. 88 cents versus 78 cents. 15.7 billion versus 15.02 billion. Blew it away on the top, blew it away on the bottom. Stock popping nicely here in the pre-market. But yesterday, Home Depot was popping up on their good earnings report, and it gave it quickly all back. Can Lowe's hold on here to these gains? What are you thinking, Joel?
Man, up 2 sticks here.
2 sticks, big move.
Yeah, big move for Lowe's.
Big resistance here too, though.
Yeah, that is exactly what I was going to say. We hit 46 here in the pre-market. 46.24 is actually the exact level that we hit. But go to the dailies here, Dennis,
Zoom in
and
there.
you're running in some problems here. 46 and a quarter has been the recent high of the move. Lo and behold, we get up to 46.24. So I don't know. I don't even know if this thing's going to open up over 46. But boy, 46 to 46 and a quarter. You've been holding on to this stock. You dipped under 44 just a few sessions ago. You're back up at 46. Got to believe some people will be letting some stock go there.
Yeah, that level just looks absolutely enormous, sticking out like a sore thumb on the chart. 46 and a quarter, the high on the 8th of October. 46 and a quarter again, the high, or 46.23, the high on the 12th. 46.23, the high on the 13th, and 46.15, the high on the 14th. So you got all kinds of resistance up there on the lows. We'll have to see if that opens up in that resistance, if they try to knock it back down, because that's what they did with Home Depot yesterday. It opened up strong, and it quickly, and I mean quickly, gave it all back. Look at that chart. Opened up around 70, and then boom, 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 down 3.5 points basically in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah. If you caught that one off the open, there was no reason to scramble out of that one. That was a straight down move and then consolidated. So we'll see if you get some similar action in Lowe's today.
Target reported earnings here this morning too, and actually it looked pretty good. The stock was trading higher there, Joel. If you go to the pre-market chart, $1.19 versus 99 cents, 17.12 million versus 17.12 billion versus 17.33 billion. So they slight miss on the top, but a big beat on the bottom, and they liked it off the bat, but then they started beating the stock up. And now the stock is actually trading down over $1 here in the pre-market. So these retailers that are reporting pretty good earnings, they seem to get an initial spike, but they're not holding on, and Target definitely not holding on to the gains here this morning.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous spike here over 69. Let's see what the high was there. 69.19. Then you came crashing down to 66.50. You are getting a little of a bounce off that level here, but when you have that kind of pre-market activity, you got to take a look at the dailies here. Not a pretty chart in this for this stock at all. Big decline coming off the 71 level. I'm keeping an eye on. Well, we're a buck away from 68, so that's going to be your resistance if you can get any kind of rally mode. Going back, you had a low in this thing. You're going to have to go to the weeklies here, Dennis, to find support in this thing. You know that's not a good thing.
Never a good thing when you're going out
never
through the year.
Never a good thing when you go through the weeklies.
And it looks like it's hanging on a cliff a little bit. Doesn't it look like it's kind of hanging on a cliff? I don't know with that chart. That's a little bit scary. And sometimes when they look like this nice to set up, sometimes they'll do the exact opposite just because everybody says, well, looks like it's hanging on a cliff. I'm shorting this off the bat and the trade gets crowded. But it's obviously looks like it's going to open down, and I don't like the looks of that chart from a long perspective.
If you're really trying to hold on to a short here, let's go back to the middle of May. And you had two weekly lows, 65.89, 65.96. So let's call that level 66, 80 cents away from there. Maybe if you get a chance to cover some shorts there, that looks like some support. But under that, I mean, it looks like you go under these things, and if it doesn't hold 66, it looks like it's going to 65. So not a good chart here for Target.
You want to see a bad chart? Bring up American Eagle Outfitters, AEO. Here's a stock that warned just about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. They warned on earnings. The stock goes from 20 to 17.5, that huge gap down there. And now they come out with the actual earnings, and they beat them up again. So here they warned, and then they came in. The earnings came in at 10 cents, which were fine, the top and the bottom line. But the next quarter, they're saying 14 cents to 16 cents versus 35-cent estimates. So they're basically warning for the next quarter now, too. And they're knocking another $2 off of or at least another $1.50 off the price of American Eagle Outfitters here. So this has just been a terrible month. Started the month of August up at $20. It's now trading $14.90 here. AEO not flying, that's for sure.
You know what? That's like a trick out of the ISRG book, right?
Yeah.
Where remember that? They came out and said, "Oh, we're not gonna, we're gonna have a bad quarter," and they knocked 70 points off.
Then they report the bad quarter. They knock another 70 off.
Yeah, I guess maybe we stop looking at these charts and listen to what the companies say because you're giving some good guidance here. Just popped off 1471 AO. That's really the only thing you can look at here. Go out to the weeklies here to find some support on this thing. That doesn't do any good. How about the monthlies here?
Good luck finding
Another
support on this thing.
Yeah, 1470. What do you know? That was a low at the April low was 1470. You got a little bounce off that. So sometimes they get a little bit overdone in the pre-market. So 1470, that'd be a level to look at on the downside. Coming back up, got a long ways to go to get to yesterday's low of 1615.
The stock's brother everybody pairs with it is ARO, Aeropostale, and that stock has obviously had a very bad August here too, reporting right along with AEO, disappointing, and it's just continued to drift down. It started the month at 15, is now trading at $11.99. In the pre-market, it's down another 25 cents on the week AEO numbers. So we'll have to see if this gets a sympathy move here today. It is getting a little sympathy move here in the pre-market, but only 1,300 shares. So what's your take on the ARO?
Just look at this ARO though. I mean, holding this it's basically been holding this 1175, 1180 level here, going back to the middle of 2011 here, and now you're breaking down below it. All long period of consolidation here. So I'm keeping an eye on this one too. It looks like it finally is going to be breaking 2-year support here in the stock. So maybe the AEO is going to push the ARO down as well.
As well as the market's held up, the retailers really haven't here. At least the retailers that we're looking at this morning, because some of these retail charts are ugly. Toll Brothers, TOL, reported earnings 26 cents versus 26 cents. Revenue a little bit late, 689 million versus 696 million, and the stock is trading slightly down the pre-market. Although it was worse there a few minutes ago, it's trying to bounce back here. It's only down about 20 cents here now, trading at 31.48. Hit some massive support down there just above 30. Looks like we get down to about 30.60 in the pre-market, Joel?
Yeah, we got down to 30.60, popped up to 31.80, so that's a pretty good range there for a $30 stock. Let's take a look at the dailies here. Just holding on to major support here. Yep, $30, even a little bit above that level. You actually got the 30.15 just 4 trading sessions ago. Need to hold that level. You do have another low going back just under 30. But this thing doesn't hold 30. Could be another leg down here for Toll Brothers.
We got another retailer going to report tonight, the Limited LTD, call them L Brands, I guess they're calling themselves now. But here's a stock that has been on a tear. So we talk about all the retailers here that have been getting beat up. This one has not been getting beat up. This one has done very, very well, rallying into the report. It's had a pretty good August, actually, probably up about $3 or $4 for the month here. Decent day yesterday, too, rallying over, looks like as much as $2 at one time on LTD. So they are running up ahead of the earnings report there tonight. But I'm looking at that resistance level. I know you're probably going to point out too. Multiple highs up there in the 61.30 area. So that's the target there, obviously, that they're looking at. We'll have to see if it can test that today before the earnings report.
Wow. I mean, with all these other retailers, doing what in the bed here, I would be really hesitant to take this stock in earnings, especially straight up since $50 here since the middle of July. I mean, if these other retailers' earnings are any kind of forecast for LTD, or L Brands here, unless everyone has stopped going to ARO and AEO.
And they all like L Brands.
They all going to L Brands here and stuff.
It's that new name.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I mean, even if you don't want to take some profits, if there's some juicy premium in some of the calls or something. But, boy, that remarkable run there in L Brands.
The only thing I will give L Brands here, and I will say, if you are taking it long through the earnings report, is the type of market where strong stocks get stronger, weak stocks get weaker. So this has been a strong stock. So it has relative strength, and if it can get above that whole 61.36 area, obviously after the report, it does open up, because I'm just trying to look how high that's been. I'm going back to the weeklies, 61.36, the monthlies. I think it's an all-time high. So
Yeah.
obviously, when stocks are making new all-time highs like that, hard to be short them. So if that thing for whatever reason gets above that 61.36 after hours after this reports, it could open up. So you just got to be somewhat careful. If I was trying to play from the short side, I'd probably wait for it to digest it. If it was to come back, if it was to be up there and come back through that level, maybe that's a way you could play it there too. I know you always like to play them that way, Joel.
Also, yeah, also take a look at it this too. Since the 598 low during the financial crisis, I mean, the stock has had several 10-point moves up here, and it seems like after a lot of these 10-point moves, you get a hesitation, and you've got an 11-point move here from
Yeah.
50 to 61.36. So, um, I know you're a momentum guy and like them when they're going up in this, but man, gotta take profits somewhere, huh?
Yeah, well, that's if you can try, you can try
Never
to
go,
never go broke
never
taking a
go.
profit. There's a lot of people
Right.
sitting on profits in this one there, Joel. Hewlett Packard reports tonight there too. Here's a stock that just started to look ugly on the chart just from yesterday. Really, it was trying to cling to support around just under the 26 area, 25.90. Broke down a bit yesterday, but closed fairly strong. So, what do you think of this HBQ chart?
HBQ, I mean, I know it's not directly related. I mean, the IBM thing is,
Yeah, well, IBM has
different.
obviously
Yeah,
not been
IBM has come
performing
up.
well at all, but
Yeah,
this one has been
Microsoft.
well.
Microsoft is Microsoft. Dell. I mean, they're all different, but huge support here. Tested it yesterday. Got to 25.57. Had three lows right in that area at the end of July. Uh, Closed above it here, but you take out that 25.50 level, usually see $25. And here, here's another stock that's had a huge run up lately, coming into earnings. You might want to load the load a little bit, lighten
Yeah,
the load.
well, it depends. I guess if you're a fundamentalist, do you think they're going to report a good quarter? Best Buy reported a great quarter, so I always, obviously they sell a lot of computers and PCs, Hewlett Packard products there. So I don't know. I didn't break down the Best Buy report there, but I know a lot of times it seems like those two stocks can follow each other. So I don't know what to say on Hewlett Packard. Obviously, it's a coin flip, I think, on whether the quarter is going to be good or not here. So we'll have to see what's going to happen there after the bell. Joel, let's move on to the upgrades and downgrades. HSBC downgrading a few key stocks, fertilizer stocks, MOS, POT, and AGU, downgrading all three of those companies. They're not liking the fertilizer. We know all the bad stuff that happened with the fertilizer stocks about a month ago. Obviously, when the cartel is rumored to be breaking down, they said potash prices might fall as much, I believe, as 25%, which hits these things on the profit margin as much as 50%. Potash obviously has been getting beat up, and it's kind of been drifting back down. You got the chart of Mosaic up there, MOS, similar story. Had the big gap down day there about a month ago, and now it's just been kind of hanging out and consolidating. But HSBC not liking these stocks and downgrading them this morning.
Yeah, one guy came out and said afterwards that the card that wasn't going to be a big deal about the cartel, and he did get a little bit of a pop, but really nothing to recover all those the huge losses that you had back last month. Broke down through support yesterday at 42.01, trading through yesterday's low at 41.76. So coming back up, I'd use that $42 level as resistance. And then in the 41 handle, things are really light, Dennis, as far as support goes. So be careful trying to pick a bottom in this thing in the 41 handle, because I don't see a low at 40.28 going back on August 7th, but that's a ways away.
The potash chart is similar, but if you go over to AGU, that chart not nearly the same here. AGU has held up a lot better than the other ones. So if you go over to AGU, this $85 level has been absolutely enormous, and also on the upside, this 87.80 area has been some resistance. So here's a stock that if you zoom in there a little bit on the chart after the big washout day, it's kind of trading in a nice little tight channel there. Obviously, eventually that channel is going to break one way or the other. Today, it's going to maybe drift down a little bit with the downgrade, though.
Right, you did have a multiple lows in the 85, right around 85, 84.99, 85.10. That's a buck and a half away from here. So not really looking for a huge washout until you take out 85. And actually three highs in a row between 86.74 and 86.88. So well-defined resistance in the 86 handle.
Ackman's under more heat again here this morning. Poor Ackman, everything just seems to be going bad for him. Herbalife getting upgraded at Argus Research, and it's trading higher here once again. 66.07 closed at 64.72, so it's up about a $1.30 here in the pre-market. It ticked up to 68 there just about a week and a half ago. It's a $1.80 away from there though this morning. It has got as high as, well, it looks like 66.75 here this morning. So, what's your take on Herbalife?
Man, he's had to cover some of that. I mean, you can't just let
He
things
said
go
he
like
didn't.
that.
He said that like
No,
last week. He says I haven't covered a share.
after after hitting 68, it pulled back, and then it's been finding resistance just above the 66 level, multiple highs, 66.39, 66.45. So we'll use that as resistance. If it comes back down and falls below 66, you got a lot of air down to yesterday's high of 64.95.
Overall thoughts on the market. We got the Fed minutes today, so we do have some fundamental news, macro news going to be coming out. S&P futures down 3 points here ahead of the Fed minutes there this afternoon. What's your take here? You think we take that 1640 level out that you're talking about, or are we going to drift higher here yet today?
Gosh, I mean, it will be, it'll be the third time down on them, that 1642. So if they can get it down there, I think they can crank it, maybe take a shot at the July 9th low of 1635.75. Coming back on the upside here, Dennis. The close 1650.50. A buck from yesterday, or a buck from the overnight high, 1651.50. So I think that's going to be a good resistance point for today's session.
That's our show for today, guys. Good luck with the trading session. Back at you tomorrow morning.